What if I told you there was a woman in America who lived to be 115 years old? Not only that, she worked well into her later years, laughed often, and said her secret to living long was simple: I ate everything, but I never smoked or drank. Now, pause for a moment. Think about that. No fancy supplements. No expensive treatments. No endless chase for youth. Just a woman, living quietly, humbly, and fully, every single day. Would you believe that the real key to a long, healthy life might actually be simpler than we've been led to think? That maybe, longevity isn't hiding in some secret formula, but in the way we live, love, and care for ourselves and each other. You see, in a world that moves so fast, where everyone is rushing to find the next big health trend or anti-aging miracle, the story of Elizabeth Francis, America's oldest living person until 2024, reminds us of something timeless. It reminds us that true longevity isn't just about adding years to your life, it's about adding life to your years. Elizabeth's story is more than just remarkable, it's a living example of grace, gratitude, and simple joy. Born in 1909, she lived through more than a century of change, world wars, new inventions, entire generations growing and fading, and yet, through it all, she stayed steady, faithful, and full of light. When people asked her secret, she didn't talk about diets or DNA. She spoke about faith. About family. About doing good to others, and being thankful for what you have. And maybe, that's the real secret we've been missing all along. So stay with me. Because by the end of this video, you're going to learn 5 beautiful, timeless lessons that this 115-year-old woman taught us about living longer, lessons that modern doctors and longevity researchers now say truly make a difference. Lessons that anyone, including you, can start living by today. But before we dive in, I'd love to hear from you. If you believe that age is just a number, and that life's true value is in the love and purpose we share, type longevity in the comments below. And while you're here, make sure to subscribe to Senior Health Wisdom, where we share real stories, gentle insights, and heartfelt reminders about what it really means to live well, at every age. Now, let's step into Elizabeth's world, and discover what her life can teach us about yours. When you look back on Elizabeth Francis's life, one thing becomes clear: she didn't just live long, she lived well. And if you asked her how she managed to keep that light in her heart for more than a century, she would smile softly and say, "If the good Lord gave it to you, use it." It wasn't just a saying to her. It was a way of life. You see, Elizabeth's world wasn't always easy. She grew up in Louisiana, lost her mother when she was young, and had to learn early how to find strength in faith and gratitude. When she moved to Houston, she worked hard, raised her daughter alone, and opened a small coffee shop that became a gathering place for her community. Life didn't hand her comfort, she built it from faith, kindness, and resilience. And somehow, through all the hardships, she kept her joy. She never complained. She simply said, "God's been good to me." That's what gratitude looked like for her, not a list on paper, but a quiet trust that life, no matter how tough, was still a gift. Modern doctors now tell us that this attitude, this deep sense of gratitude, does more than lift the spirit. It changes the body. When you live with gratitude, your heart rate slows. Your stress hormones drop. Inflammation, one of the biggest causes of aging, begins to ease. Faith, too, has a way of calming the mind. It gives you something to lean on when life feels uncertain, and that stability, that sense of peace, becomes medicine in itself. You might think longevity is written in your genes. But scientists now know that's only part of the story. Genes may open the door, but it's your choices, your mindset, your faith, your attitude, that decide how far you'll walk through it. A grateful heart is like a shield. It protects you from the wear and tear of daily stress, keeping you open, calm, and connected to what really matters. Think about your own mornings. When you wake up, where does your mind go first? To the worries, the aches, the to-do lists? Or to the small blessings? The sunlight through the window, the sound of someone you love, the simple fact that you're still here to see another day. Elizabeth began each day with quiet thanks. She didn't have much, but she was thankful for everything she did have: her daughter, her family, her faith, her breath. That habit kept her heart young, long after her body began to age. So here's a little something you can try, something both doctors and centenarians agree on. Every morning, before you touch your phone or rush into the day, name 3 things you're thankful for. Say them out loud if you can. Feel them. Let them sink in. It might be your health, your home, your favorite song, or the person who makes you smile. It sounds simple, doesn't it? But science says that this simple act can rewire your brain, shifting your focus from what's missing to what's meaningful. And over time, that small shift adds up to a lifetime of emotional balance, stronger relationships, and yes, even a longer life. Faith and gratitude. That was Elizabeth's first secret. Not written in a book, not taught in a classroom, but lived, every single day. And as you hold on to that thought, remember this: while gratitude keeps the heart young, there's another secret that keeps the body strong. It's something Elizabeth practiced well into her hundreds, a lesson that shows us aging doesn't mean slowing down, but staying in motion. Let's explore that next. There's something beautifully simple about the way Elizabeth Frances moved through life, both in body and in spirit. Even as the years added up, she never stopped moving. She didn't start using a wheelchair until she was 108 years old. Think about that for a moment. Most people at half that age begin to slow down, but Elizabeth stayed active, not because she forced herself to, but because life kept calling her forward. She helped around the house. She loved sitting with her family, telling stories, asking questions, laughing at the little things. She wasn't running marathons, she was simply living her life with movement, purpose, and engagement. Her body might have aged, but her spirit never retired. You could always find her doing something that made her feel useful, even in small ways. She'd fold laundry beside her daughter, hum softly while watching her great-grandchildren play, or help prepare a meal just the way she used to decades ago. Each little act kept her connected, not just to her family, but to herself. Doctors today call that connection a kind of medicine. They say movement isn't just about keeping muscles strong, it keeps the brain alive. Every time you walk, stretch, or even stand up, your body sends signals that wake up the mind. It improves blood flow, increases oxygen, and helps your brain build new connections, a process called neuroplasticity. That's the brain's way of saying, I'm still learning. I'm still here. We often think aging means slowing down completely, that the body and mind naturally lose their strength. But the truth is, our bodies are designed to move, at every age. What really harms us isn't age itself, but inactivity. It's the long hours of sitting, the routine of stillness, the quiet surrender that whispers, maybe I can't anymore. Elizabeth never said that. She kept finding reasons to keep going, to get up, to stay curious, to stay involved. And that, more than anything, helped her body remember what it was made to do. Movement doesn't have to look dramatic. It can be a gentle walk in the morning light, tending to your plants, sweeping the porch, or dancing a little while you cook dinner. Even standing up every 30 minutes helps your heart, your lungs, and your mood. Think about your day. When was the last time you moved just for the joy of it, not for exercise, not for obligation, but simply because you could? That's the kind of movement that keeps the spirit alive. And mental activity, that's movement too. Elizabeth stayed sharp because she never stopped engaging with the world. She asked questions, listened deeply, remembered names, and shared stories that made her family feel seen and loved. Every conversation was a small workout for her brain, a reminder that she was still part of the story, still learning, still contributing. Science confirms what her life already proved: the brain thrives on curiosity. Learning new things, having meaningful conversations, even doing simple puzzles, these are ways to keep the mind flexible and the memory strong. The people who live the longest aren't the ones who do everything perfectly, they're the ones who keep showing up. They move a little every day, think a little every day, and love a little every day. So maybe the lesson here isn't about exercise at all. Maybe it's about staying alive in your own story, keeping your body and mind gently in motion, no matter your age. Elizabeth's body slowed down, but her life didn't stop. Her energy came from engagement, from love, laughter, and the rhythm of simple routines. She proved that longevity isn't about escaping age, it's about embracing it, with grace and motion. And just as her movement kept her body strong, there was something else that kept her joy alive, the way she nourished herself. Not through strict rules or diets, but through something far more human and joyful. Let's talk about that next. Elizabeth Frances loved food. She used to laugh and say, "I never smoked, never drank, but I ate everything." And when you saw her at family gatherings, you could tell she meant it. Her meals were simple, nothing fancy, nothing complicated, just home-cooked food made with care. Fresh vegetables from the market. A bit of rice. A piece of fish or chicken. Sometimes something sweet, but never too much. She believed in feeding the body with love, not restriction. You could find her in the kitchen even in her later years, watching over a pot of stew, offering gentle advice to whoever was cooking. It wasn't just about the food, it was about the moment. Sharing stories. Laughing together. Passing down recipes that carried family history in every bite. Those meals nourished more than her body, they fed her soul. Doctors today would call her diet balanced. But Elizabeth would just call it living normally. She didn't count calories or chase the latest health trend. She ate what made her feel alive, always in moderation, always with gratitude. And science supports her way of life. Modern research shows that balanced eating, rich in fiber, whole grains, fruits, and vegetables, lowers the risk of heart disease, diabetes, and inflammation. It keeps your gut healthy, your energy stable, and your mind clear. But here's the secret most people miss: it's not just what you eat. It's how you eat. We live in a world that eats in a hurry. Meals at desks. Snacks on the go. Phones in one hand, thoughts somewhere else. But Elizabeth? She took her time. She savored every bite, every flavor, every conversation around the table. Her body listened when it was full. Her mind was calm when she ate. And her spirit, always grateful. That's mindful eating. And it's one of the quietest, most powerful ways to honor your body. It's easy to believe longevity comes from cutting things out: no sugar, no salt, no joy. But the truth is, people who live the longest often enjoy their food. They just don't overdo it. They understand that eating is not a battle to control, it's a rhythm to respect. Elizabeth's approach to food teaches us that balance doesn't mean deprivation, it means harmony. A little of everything. Nothing in excess. She once said she never believed in forbidding herself from what she enjoyed, because life, she'd laugh, was meant to be tasted. So maybe the lesson here is this: don't make food your enemy. Make it your friend. Let it bring you joy, but let that joy come with mindfulness, with an awareness of your body's quiet signals. Try this the next time you eat. Before your first bite, pause. Take a breath. Notice the colors, the smell, the effort it took to bring that food to your table. Then eat slowly, without rushing. Feel each bite. You'll be amazed how different your body feels when you give it the attention it deserves. Elizabeth didn't need a strict diet to live to 115. She simply respected her body, trusted it, nourished it, and never took it for granted. And maybe that's why she stayed so strong for so long. Because when you feed your body with love, it gives that love right back, in strength, energy, and years of life. And just as her meals kept her healthy, there was another part of her life that kept her whole. Something deeper than food, stronger than willpower, something that tied her heart to every generation that came after her. Let's talk about that next. At her 115th birthday celebration, Elizabeth Frances sat in her favorite chair, her eyes bright as ever, surrounded by 4 generations of family. Her daughter, 95 years old, sat right beside her, holding her hand. Around them were grandchildren, great-grandchildren, and even great-great-grandchildren, all gathered to honor the woman they lovingly called the backbone of the family. It was more than just a birthday. It was living history, a living tree with roots deep in love and branches that stretched across time. You could see it in the way her family looked at her, a mix of awe, gratitude, and quiet reverence. They knew they were witnessing something rare, a life that had touched so many, for so long. Elizabeth's secret wasn't just in what she ate or how she moved, it was in who she loved. She believed deeply in staying connected, in never letting time or distance steal away the bonds that make life meaningful. If someone was sick, she'd call to check on them. If there was a family event, she was there, smiling, present, a gentle reminder of what family means. Even when her body began to slow, her heart stayed open. Doctors today say social connection is one of the strongest predictors of a long, healthy life. It's true, people who stay close to family, friends, and community are less likely to suffer from dementia, heart disease, or depression. Loneliness, on the other hand, can be as damaging as smoking or poor diet. And Elizabeth somehow understood that, long before science could prove it. Her home was never quiet for long. Someone was always visiting, dropping off food, asking for advice, or simply sitting with her to listen to her stories. She had a way of making everyone feel seen, from her oldest grandchild to the youngest baby in the room. And that warmth, that constant human connection, kept her heart young. There's a common misconception that independence means doing everything alone. But Elizabeth lived by a different truth, that we need each other. She believed that interdependence, not isolation, is what gives life meaning. We're meant to lean on each other, to share joy, sorrow, laughter, and love. That's how we stay strong, not by standing apart, but by standing together. She often said, "You don't get old because of years. You get old when you stop being part of life." And she never stopped being part of life. So if there's one thing to take from her story, it's this. Reach out. Call that friend you've been meaning to call. Visit that relative you haven't seen in a while. It doesn't have to be long, even a few minutes of genuine connection can lift your spirit and strengthen your body. Science tells us that every warm conversation, every shared laugh, even a simple hug, releases oxytocin, the hormone that lowers stress and strengthens the immune system. So when you reach out to someone you care about, you're not just healing them. You're healing yourself. Elizabeth's life reminds us that family and community aren't just part of living, they are living. They are the heartbeat of longevity, the warmth that keeps the years from growing cold. And as her family gathered around her that day, singing, smiling, holding hands, you could see it clearly. She wasn't just celebrating 115 years. She was celebrating a lifetime of love. Because in the end, it's not the number of candles on your cake that matters. It's the number of hearts your light has touched along the way. Even in her hundreds, Elizabeth Frances was full of laughter. You could walk into her home and hear her chuckling before you even saw her, that soft, musical laugh that made everyone else smile too. She loved to tell stories from her younger days. How she used to walk miles to church, how neighbors shared what little they had, how her community looked after one another. And no matter how many times you'd heard the story, she'd always find a new way to make it funny, or meaningful, or both. She believed in treating people the way you'd want to be treated. That was her golden rule, her lifelong compass. And somehow, it showed, in the way she spoke to children with patience, in how she listened when others needed comfort, in how she never lost her sense of humor even when her body began to slow. She'd often say with a grin, "If you can laugh, you can live." Laughter was her medicine. Curiosity was her spark. And purpose was her heartbeat. You see, psychologists have a name for this, they call it purpose-driven aging. It's the idea that having a reason to wake up each day, whether it's caring for family, tending a small garden, or simply giving thanks, actually changes the chemistry of your brain. It boosts dopamine, strengthens focus, and gives you energy that no pill can replace. Doctors who study longevity say it again and again. When you have purpose, your body follows your mind. Your heart beats stronger, your immune system responds better, and your spirit stays light. It's not about staying busy, it's about staying engaged. There's a difference. Elizabeth didn't see retirement as the end of anything. She saw it as a chance to pour more love into life, into people, into faith, into joy. Even when she no longer worked outside her home, she still woke up with intention. She'd make her bed, hum a little tune, and say her morning prayer before breakfast. She'd sit by the window, watching the world go by, always curious about what each new day might bring. She never stopped learning, asking questions, or sharing wisdom. When her great-grandchildren came to visit, she'd ask about their dreams and remind them to use their blessings wisely. When someone brought her a new dish, she'd taste it carefully and say, "Now that's something good, you should write it down before you forget." Even simple moments became reasons to smile, to connect, to stay alive in spirit. And that's something many people misunderstand about growing older. They think life after retirement slows to a stop, that you're supposed to rest, fade quietly, wait for the days to pass. But those who live the longest know better. They know that joy, humor, and curiosity keep the soul young, even when the body has seen a century or more. It's not about denying age, it's about embracing it with lightness. It's about finding new meaning in familiar things. Purpose doesn't have to be grand, it can be as simple as taking care of a houseplant, teaching a child something kind, or sharing a smile with a stranger. The happiest elders, studies show, are the ones who still look forward to something, no matter how small. Elizabeth's secret wasn't locked in a formula. It was in the way she lived her ordinary days with an extraordinary spirit. She didn't chase youth, she honored life. She didn't wish for more time, she used the time she had, with gratitude and grace. So maybe the lesson is this. Keep laughing. Keep learning. Keep caring. Find one small reason to look forward to tomorrow, and let it fill your heart today. Because as Elizabeth showed us, it's not the years that make a life long, it's the love, curiosity, and purpose that fill those years with meaning. Elizabeth Frances's story isn't just about living long, it's about living well. It's about choosing joy when life gets heavy, choosing faith when the path seems uncertain, and finding meaning in moments most people overlook. She faced losses, challenges, and decades of change, but through it all, she never let life make her bitter. Instead, she became softer, wiser, more radiant with time. Every year was a gift. Every wrinkle, a story. Every day, a lesson she carried with grace. And maybe that's the real beauty of aging, not in avoiding it, but in embracing it. Because aging isn't something to fear. It's not the end of youth, it's the reward for a life lived with love, peace, and gratitude. We don't grow old simply because time passes, we grow old when we stop learning, laughing, and loving. When we stop looking forward to tomorrow. If Elizabeth could speak to you right now, she might say, don't wait for life to get easier. Make it meaningful right where you are. Call someone you love today. Cook a meal from scratch, just because it feels good to create something with your hands. Step outside, breathe deeply, and feel the air on your face. Those moments, simple, ordinary, full of quiet life, might just be the real secret to longevity. Because maybe the key to a long life isn't hidden in medicine bottles or miracle routines. Maybe it's written in the heartbeats of those who never stopped caring. The ones who kept showing up, for family, for community, for themselves. The ones who found beauty in each sunrise, laughter in every season, and peace in knowing they gave their best while they were here. So, as we remember Elizabeth Frances, the 115-year-old woman who lived with such grace and spirit, let's carry her lessons forward. Faith and gratitude. Daily movement. Simple, joyful eating. Strong family bonds. and a heart full of purpose. Those were her 5 secrets to a long, meaningful life, and their lessons we can all begin to live, one day at a time. Which of these habits do you believe matters most for living longer? Share your thoughts in the comments. Your story or insight might inspire someone else who needs a little hope today. And if this story touched your heart, subscribe to Senior Health Wisdom, where we celebrate life, health, and purpose through the voices of those who've lived it best. Thank you for spending this time here. Stay curious. Stay kind. And may your days, like Elizabeth's, be long, full, and filled with meaning.